So here is the table. Pep Guardiola quite correctly said yesterday, still 99 points to play for. He'll be hoping that his team stay exactly where they already are, right at the top. Closely followed by Liverpool, Villa and then Arsenal. Chelsea in fifth, Fulham and Spurs just sneak into the top half of the table. Every side has now picked up at least 1 point. Everton and Southampton both managed 1-1 draws over the weekend. 6 sides, though, without a win. Man United fans will be keen to see their club climb out of the bottom 10 as soon as possible. Darren Lewis and Tim Sherwood are with us to look ahead on this weekend's action. Look back at this weekend's action. Let's get this on the right timeline for a start. I think we're a bit discombobulated. That was breathless stuff yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're emotionally involved in it.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those proper title challenge, end to end, thrilling, bit of needle, bit of aggression. It was good. It was just good. Is what it was.
Could you imagine how that would have ended up if we could have had 11 against 11?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because that's what it comes down to. You know, players getting booked for kicking the ball away. But you know, it was a disappointment simply because of that. You know, what he got sent off for in the end. And I would look at it from Trossard's point of view. We know that's happened just a couple of weeks ago. So in the current climate, you know, you can't do that. And that's what I was probably frustrated at last night, being 2-1 up and then you're losing a man, knowing what City are capable of. How many games haven't they lost there for? 38? Yeah. I don't know what it is.
48.
It's 48. Yeah, see, I tried to dumb them down, but no, 10 more it was. But, you know, in the end, you know, I probably think I'm very happy with the result and very proud of how the boys handled that whole situation.
Yeah, they've gone to Manchester City and they've taken a point, and you would think that would be across the course of a season, that wouldn't be too bad a result. It's because of the late equaliser, obviously, but just a word on the game overall, Tim. It was just proper entertainment, wasn't it?
I loved it. I thought it was really good. I was intrigued to see how Arsenal would go and approach it, because I felt like they have to go and take 3 points. Because don't rely on any other team to take points off Man City, because it doesn't happen. If you want to win the Premier League, you're going to have to go to your biggest rival, which is Man City, and you're going to have to win. There was a lot of talk before the North London derby. You know, if they lose to Tottenham, if they lose to Man City, the season's over. They very nearly won both games, you know, so they're right in it. They're a different... I think they're made of different stuff now, Arsenal. You know, they've got the best back four, back five, back six with Calaver coming in there now. He coming to the side. I think they're title chargers now. I really do. I don't think they're favourites. I think Man City's still a favourites, but the needle in the game was really encouraging for me. I really like that. It's a different spice to it. You know, we've seen Liverpool and Man City. It's all about handshakes and cuddles and, you know, who can outplay each other. You know, this is a different needle. It's great. I love it. It's a throwback, and long may it continue.
It has an old school feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. You can think about all of the old bust-ups and battles between Manchester United and Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United as well. We're still talking about the spite afterwards. You've got the viral videos of Haaland throwing the ball at the head of Gabriel afterwards. All of the little videos of Haaland being a little bit naughty with his comments towards Arteta as well, and a couple of the younger players as well. Yeah. And so this is one of those ones. You always know a good bust-up and a good rivalry because everyone's talking about that rather than the football days later. But what I think Arsenal did yesterday was send out messages. They send out messages that they're a serious team now. No one's ever going to talk about their attitude going to the Etihad again, because they could and should have won the game and would have done if there were 11 players on the pitch. I think it would have been a very different game.
I think it would have gone the other way. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
What, they would have gone to City?
If they would have stayed with 11 men, I think they would have opened up and Man City would have broken down.
No, sure.
But I might be wrong.
But no, I do. But just in terms of the messages, I think Gabriel and Saliba, they are establishing themselves as arguably the best centre-half pair in the Premier League.
Although, as Roy Keane said on the UK coverage yesterday, they conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, they did. But I think in the context of yesterday's match, that would be true. Of what their presence and what they represent, their ability at set pieces and all of that. Because when Roy did say that, and I think it was Paul Burston who was sort of really gushing about them.
It was
Michael Richards. And when he said that, I did sit there and think, yeah, actually, you can't really sit anywhere and say they're the best player. But as a partnership, they're just so outstanding, and they were so unfortunate to leave now to lose. The flip side of that, of course, is that if you don't have the defensive discipline to last out the whole game, then you can make the opposite case for them not being as imperious as, say, Vidic and Ferdinand, or Carvalho and Terry, Gallas and Terry, so many of the top centre-half pairings who have been outstanding. But I just think about their ability at set pieces and the way that Gabriel rose to head that ball home. It was just outstanding.
You know what as well, Kels, when we talk about, like, Roy, because Roy will say something like that and it will vex me, because it has just vexed me. I'm probably going to say something, because when you look at how that first Man City goal came about, we know what Erling Haaland wants to do, how he wants to run in. The mistakes made before that is totally out of Gabriel and Saliba's hands, where they are and where they've got to go. Our defender went in and got beaten completely. You've got Saliba, who's trying to cover Gundogan, who's going to try and run behind him, so he doesn't know whether to go that way or come this way. And then you've got Savinho, who's able to put a ball through to Haaland. What do you see? Like, California committed himself. Now you see Saliba goes a bit backwards because he thinks Gundogan's coming. Erling Haaland will do that to anyone. To blame the two defenders who are thinking, see, you've got Gabriel who's feeling, is that going to go down the line? I can't. And so what happens is that Erling Haaland's on the move because Savinho's got space. You can't blame the two centre-halves for that. You can't blame them. And the last goal, down to 10 men, and, you know, the pressure's on. So it's really harsh to blame them two for that, because in any other scenario in that game, they dealt with it properly.
Yeah, it was a goal conceded that was made by Haaland rather than one that was given to them by Arsenal. Look, should we look at the goals in order, or do you want to have a look at the sending up first? What would you rather do?
Probably the sending off.
Let's get that out of the way, because you've all said that was absolutely crucial to what happened in the game. So it was it wasn't sent off for kicking the ball away. He got the second booking for kicking the ball away. So do you have any issues with the first yellow card?
No, because he pulled him back, and we know that in the game now, referees don't even warn you and say, listen, any more of that, you're getting booked. You're going straight in the book, which is crazy. It's ridiculous. This one, he's gone in aggressive there, and that's where I'm thinking, from Trossard's point of view, and obviously my frustration with everything that's happened. You saw what happened with Declan and for me, how petty that was, and you got sent off. You're on a yellow. So that's all I was thinking with that. But again, I'll always go back to, how are we getting players sent off for that when all you've got to do is add time on, if it's such a big deal? Add some more time on. You can't send people off for those things. It's not conducive to the game.
And you're right, in terms of the future, it may well be that you would like to see that law changed. But the players know what they are, and Trossard knows what that law is. And do you not think that his Arsenal teammates have a right to feel annoyed with him?
He will feel annoyed with himself because of the outcome. He will feel annoyed with himself. But at the same time, when we was playing, and we can't keep going back to that, because it's now and we're commenting on it. But you can have a referee that can warn you as well.
Yeah.
Where has that gone? When's the last time you've seen a warning? Right, because
he's
in the game.
The fact that the law exists, that's the warning.
Yeah, but the law in itself is what used to happen. If you kick the ball away, because you're stopping restart of a game, then they just add more time on. Do we need people being sent off for that? Especially when it's not that blatant. It's not like, oh, the ball's coming, you're going to pick it up, Tim, and I kick it away and stop you. That is what I suppose it's made for in respect to the law. No, that's not how it's happening. Declan Rice's one, this one. People talking about Doku's one. You know what I mean? And you just think to yourself, people shouldn't even be getting angry about these things.
So you're talking about Doku kicking the ball away, and what they say that's slightly different about this is that Michael Oliver had told him to
right, but when you watch it, Kels, right, watch Declan Rice, right? So Declan Rice is stood still there, right? Declan Rice doesn't move. Doku kicks it away. Watch where they take it from, right? Watch where they take it from. He's saying from there, and then we didn't see it. He kicks it back to Declan Rice. So Declan Rice is here ready to take it. That's where they take it from. So if we're going by the letter of the law, then Doku has kicked the ball away because Declan's there, and that's where he's taking it from.
That's the big problem.
It's the inconsistency. So ever likely Arsenal fans are up in arms about it. Of course they are. The inconsistency.
And they're all trying to get each other sent off now. I mean, as much as we crow about it afterwards, they're all trying to get each other. Kanji there was appealing to the referee to say, send him off, he's kicked the ball away. He celebrates when he actually pulls out the red card. Declan Rice there, when he knocks the ball past him, Doku, he's saying to the referee, come, book him. Book him.
That's where the game's going to.
Isn't asking for a card supposed to be a bookable offence as well?
Yeah, exactly, but this is where the game's going, Kels.
It's a very specific action. You can't do this, otherwise... But you can do this.
but
So the warning.
Yeah.
When Wright is talking about the warning there, it's not going to come now. The warning is Declan Rice against Brighton. That's the warning. That's what you should have. Mikel will be really upset. He was talking about after the game about it was only a second. It was only a second, only half a second. But them split seconds is what the game gets turned on. You know, decision making, and when you lose your head, he kicked that ball away to kill time. He just kicked it away. He's out of frustration.
That's
that
what
he's given
should
a
be
foul.
taken into consideration, surely.
Yeah.
I think
the intensity of the game, all that, Darren. For me,
yeah, no, I agree with
losing
that.
I
think, yeah, because you can. Some of the best referees. The reason why some people think they're the best because they turn around, they say to players, "Come on, I'm trying to help you here." And they're very demonstrative about that. So when you're watching, you know what they're trying to do and say. They're trying to preserve the spectacle.
Yes.
Once that sending off happened, suddenly there was no spectacle. It was attack against defence for the remainder of the game.
It was an amazing fight from Arsenal.
Well, yeah, but are they fighting a bit too much? That's 17 red cards since Boxing Day 2019.
Yeah, but if we're going to go into that kind of stat, Kels, then we have to go back and look at how those red cards came about, because that red card for me, yes, that's not a red card. Declan Rice.
But it doesn't matter which law they're breaking. If they've got more red cards than anyone else since then, does it mean that there is a discipline problem?
Do
No.
you know what I think about?
No, it doesn't.
No, I'll
Let's
say no,
move on.
because especially no, Kels, only because of what people are getting sent off for now is something that the game has to try to adjust to. You will get sent off for that, Trossard. Declan, you'll get sent off for that. You know, but like Doku, you could kick it there and then it could come back here, but you don't have to get. So where's the consistency?
But I'm less concerned about the red cards, only because the last time Arsenal had that many red cards, it was when Arsene Wenger's team were winning titles. They were a dirty team. Lots of people say that Arsenal have been, in the last, 15, 20 years, too easy to play against, too powder puff. They're not able to cope.
Son-in-laws.
Yeah, son-in-laws, exactly. And they were nice boys, and suddenly, looking at them yesterday, they're warriors, they're monsters, they're all over the pitch, they're physically imposing. They're, you look at the way they're blocking off keepers for their set pieces. And also, there was a long period of time where Arsenal, people would say about Arsene Wenger, he practices attacking, but no defence. Where's the defensive steel? Where's the edge? Where's the sharp? Well, that's all there as part of this Arsenal side. And if there are red cards along the way, it means because they are not nice boys anymore, they're prepared to fight and dig in. And if they do get red cards as a result, maybe, but still they're at the top of the Premier League.
But them red cards, they don't matter until they matter.
Yeah,
and what I'm saying, they've had 2 red cards this year, and if we're led to believe that yesterday, if they would have stayed with 11, they would have got an extra 2 points. At Brighton, my belief, they would have won that game at home to Brighton if Declan Rice doesn't get sent off. That's 2 red cards, what could have cost them 4 points. And that 4 points is the difference between them winning the league and losing the league.
Yeah, I agree. I think only 2 points.
You still have to look at the week they've had as well.
But there's just to go back to the point, I know you were sort of being funny when you were saying, it's not a problem with discipline because they're not necessarily vicious red cards. Yeah. But is that not almost more of an issue? Because if actually if it's for a hard challenge, or if it's for like stopping somebody going through on goal or something like that, then that's kind of worth the hit. But what Tim's saying is, if you're getting sent off for kicking the ball away because that's your second yellow, is that not a bit of a waste of a red card?
I can't get away from the fact the way the game is now and what you can get a red card for. And yes, you have to think to yourself, obviously, you're feeling that Trossard maybe saw what happened, so you have to kind of relax in the moment and say, right, I could get sent off for that, so I'll just come. But it's not that easy, especially in the game, the time of the game. Why can't referees understand that side of the game, where a player has to be in control because what could happen, the ramifications if he gets sent off, and then the referee treats you like a man and say, listen. Yeah. I know the game. How many times a referee put you and say, listen, I know there's a lot of people here. We know how much is on the game. You just need to calm down.
Yeah.
Where's that gone?
Before the game, Bryce.
Absolutely. Before the game and while it's happening.
I used to say in the tunnel to the referee, it's a very emotional game. Yeah. There will be tackles, both from us and both from them. Just keep your cards in your pocket. I used to give them that information when I played. Because I know I'm trying to make them, educate them that this is a high-pressured environment today. Bit different. And when it's a slippery surface. Yeah. It's a bit slippy today, might be some mistimed tackles, bear that in mind.
You know the thing as well, that what would happen as well, Kels, is if people can watch a referee controlling it and say, listen, I know he's wrong there, but I'm not going to book him for that, I'm going to give him a warning. People are used to that. That can still happen in the game. You can still, as a referee, control the game like that and say, any more, Because we're seeing games. I saw a game the other day.
Giving referees leeway leads to more inconsistency,
It's only because of the amount of pressure that gets
then you
piled
get
on
players
players.
going, well, he did that earlier in the game, and you didn't book him for that, and yet you've booked me for the same thing. And
Yeah, because we've set a precedent that we're doing everything to the letter of the law. It can't be like that.
But the reason that that's happening is so that referees are, if they apply the letter of the law, it means that they can't be accused of being inconsistent, which is everybody's biggest gripe about referees. It's the one we started off with when we talked about the second yellow for Trossard. And you went, well, what about Doku? What about when Szoboszlai got sent off? Didn't get, a yellow card for kicking the ball away with the same ref in a similar situation. You go, well, it's inconsistency that is the most frustrating thing. And the only way referees will say to fix that is to apply the letter of the law.
I'm sure the referees want to use some common sense, but they're not allowed to. Legislation doesn't allow them to. The mandate is you stick to the law to try and get the more consistency. What me and Wright is saying is wrong, but we would like to see it like that. But it's not.
It's affecting the game.
When do we move away from
the game?
where you know, like, referee will book you and he'll go, over there, over there. We had that, and then we kind of seem to have lost it overnight, haven't we? It's more a question than because I.
And that's as much for the crowd as anything else. That's great when you're inside the stadium and you can see it's a kind of communication. All I was saying was we can't criticise referees for inconsistency and then say, but we need to make the laws more flexible. You can't have both.
No, Charles, I don't think you can. No, but I think that they you can use common sense and say, listen. You know, listen, it's nearly half-time. Now, you just need to cut. I know the emotions are running high. Any more of that, I'm going to have to send you off. You're already on a yellow. Bam, you understand that.
I mean, do you know what? There were a few instances from the referee's point of view yesterday. Not least of them was Arsenal's equaliser when Michael Oliver had called Kyle Walker over to him, and Kyle Walker was furious because he felt he didn't get a chance to get back into position. Well, what did you think of this?
Well, again, massive from Michael Oliver's point of view. He's called the two captains over, right? Saka's had to come from all the way over there, and then you got Kyle Walker's got to come from where he is. You look where Gabriel Martinelli is. They know you got Partey already on the ball. Kyle Walker is not even thinking for 1 second he's not going to be able to get back in position. Now people say, yeah, but Kyle Walker can run down it. No. Kyle Walker would have been standing in a position which would have dissuaded Thomas Partey from putting the ball there. Look, he's on his way there. He's probably saying, someone get on the ball because no one's there. And then, bam, now he's chasing back rather than standing there to make them not play that ball. That is why, again, Michael Oliver, I believe, Trossard gave him the perfect opportunity by getting sent off. That would have been a mistake that we'd have been talking about today that we're not talking about at the levels we should be.
And you can see him saying there, I couldn't get back into position. Where would he have been? That's because we were talking about this earlier when we didn't have the pictures in front of us. Yeah. Where on the pitch?
So what would have happened is, if he given the chance to get back, he would have been in that the right back slot, which would have made.
So further out towards Martinelli.
It doesn't have to be further out to Martinelli, but he would have been in a hole, which would have made Thomas Partey think twice about passing it to Martinelli, because Martinelli, as quick as he is, getting the ball there to try and take Kyle Walker on when he's ready. It's not really something that you get a lot of joy from. So that is where I totally understand from Kyle Walker's point of view. And again, it's down to the referee and the mistake he made. It's a big mistake he made.
I think Michael Oliver is one of our top referees, and generally he gets these kind of matches because he's so good at officiating this kind of match. He had an off day yesterday because I think there was an unwillingness to understand or even listen to what Kyle was saying to him. Yeah. And Kyle Walker's complaint was very legitimate, as we've been establishing, and as you've shown from the pictures there. I'd hate to think that we're at a point where even when top officials are making decisions that turn out to be not quite right, they're still being backed. Yeah. Right. Whereas, you can maybe even take a minute.
No accountability, really.
And actually turn around and say, let's have another look at it. It's possible to do that because we know that there has been this movement towards being much more open and human and listening to what people have got to say. Yeah. And Pedro ML have tried very hard. I just look at that situation and what's come of it, which is Pep Guardiola saying very publicly, the next time the referee calls you over, I will instruct you not to go.
Yeah. And he'll book
you. The referee go to you.
Exactly.
And that can't help anybody.
Well, especially if he's got to speak to two captains who are opposite sides of the pitch.
And as Harry Wright, Saka didn't get in a position where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
Because if Trossard had that ball wide and he wanted to cross that to the far post, Saka is not made up the ground because he's not allowed to make up the ground. Michael should have just took a breather, let him get back, and then we wouldn't be having this conversation. And if they get it right all the time, he wouldn't have this show.
But having made that decision to restart the game, is there any way they could have, because it led to a goal, could they have gone back and looked at that on VAR?
Well, all goals are reviewed. Yeah. All goals are reviewed by VAR.
I'm not sure if it's an exception. Yeah. So because of that, I assume because it led to a goal that they could actually have gone back. They could actually
have looked at it because it was it was a goal. They could review it.
But we've not had that before. So
I think Carl is facing the play a little bit. It's almost like give the impression to Michael. Michael doesn't know if he wants to be 10 yards deeper. He doesn't know what position he wants to take up. He believes it. He believes in his mind that he's in the correct position. He's back. He's not worried about where Saka, because Saka's on the attacking side. He's not going to hurt him. It's hurt Michael Oliver and it's hurt Man City when Calafiori sticks out in the top corner.
From your reading of it, Michael Oliver thinks that Kyle Walker is back in position.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know where he wants to be. But Kyle, quite clearly, after the ball hits the back of the net, he says, I wasn't in play.
He wasn't.
And if he goes back another 5 yards, if he wants to be, because we know he's quicker than greased lightning, if they try and play that ball over his head, he gets there before Trossard even takes control of it. And he's on top of him. I think he does brilliant to get back in, forces the play back, but they're just all unfortunate, the referee and Man City, that he's bent that into the top corner. It's a wonderful finish.
You know, when for me, with Michael Oliver, he should know that you have to let them get back in position, because if you're going to be calling players from where they are to, then there should be a lot to say, well, once they get back, you're saying that he doesn't know whether he's got to go 10 yards or not. He's got to wait until he at least gets to where he is and stops.
Yeah.
He's got to at least do that. Now, for me, that mistake is something that is not spoken about enough today.
I agree, and I think today you can say, well, Carl, he doesn't believe there's anything to look back at, but you have the player saying to you, I wasn't not in position.
Thank you.
I mean, and it's not like you've made a really good point. Carl Walker's a very, very fast player, so it's not as if he were in the right position, he would not have been able. If he were in a position, even half able to recover a situation, he would not have had an issue. But you could see very clearly he was saying, I was not in position. Why would you not want to listen?
He would say that. The ball's just at the back of his net.
Yeah.
No, but
I don't know if we can see it again, but when he's facing the play, if he was facing that way and the ball goes over the top of him, then you'd say, oh, he's not back in. I think he waits, he back pedals. See, initially, when he's telling him, we know he should let him get back, but he jogs back into the position and then he turns and faces the play. And I think Michael Oliver believes he's in a position where he wants to be.
So he's talking to them both here.
And this is just a sort of calm down chat, isn't it?
And keep
settled. This is what you were asking him to do more of. So this is what he's doing here.
You know what I mean?
And actually, all of us agree he's doing fantastic here with that. But then it's when he sends him back. And I actually agree with Carl. He's back, but he's not back, is he?
Exactly.
If he takes it now, it's a problem because he's not facing the ball. When he turns and faces the ball there, Michael Oliver's not even looked at him, to be fair. And look where Saka is. He's way off the pace there. Now he comes into the box and now he's arrived. But if he was to cross that first time, he wouldn't be in position either. It's not that important because he's the attacking side. Pep's really pleased about it.
He took it well.
I'm not in position.
And also Ricardo Calafiori, just as an aside here, has got the best name in the Premier League as well. He's got the most footballer name in the whole of the Premier League.
And look,
what we should say as well, we've spent a lot of time on that Trossard double yellow card, but Arsenal at that stage were 2-1 up because, again, it was a set piece, and again it was a strong physical presence in the box.
And a fantastic ball. He played one earlier on where it's very strange to me because Pep talked about how good they were at set pieces, and on the first corner, he headed over the bar, Gabriel, Doku was marking him. I couldn't understand that. And on the second one, they've obviously said, right, Carl, you mark him, and the ball is so good. Once he's made his move, we saw Carl trying to stop him, and that he can't be stopped if the ball is good. And that is what we know we're capable of doing at City. Obviously, scoring the goal what Calafiori scored. We don't normally score goals from outside the box. I was only saying that the other day. But that was a brilliant goal, which we got back in the game because of the referee, right? We got back in the game, but that is what we're capable of. And that is what we've done. And I think, as much as people saying if it was 11 men, it would say, I still believe that Arsenal and the new Arsenal and the mentality of this, how deep they're willing to go, I think we beat them. I think we'd have beat them.
I actually...
And they were celebrating.
I know
their
you
draw.
disagreed, but...
And they were celebrating their draw.
Yeah, but this is going back to Rodri's comments from last season,
exactly.
isn't it? Yeah.
Rodri's saying it, but they were celebrating the draw because the emotions take over. They know that Arsenal are on their tails now. Arsenal are up for it physically and mentally and everything that comes in respect to the football. So they've got a proper
they're celebrating
rivalry.
a draw because they've played for a draw because City have been cautious. City had more shots on Arsenal's goal in that game than any other Premier League side has managed in the history of the Premier League.
What, when we went down to 10 men?
Bar Manchester City against QPR in 2012.
When we went down to 10 men?
When you were down to... So, I think they had like 28 shots
That's Manchester City,
on goal.
one of the best teams in the world.
And Arsenal didn't have a single shot in the second half. And I take your point, but the goal maybe did feel like it was coming. I mean, it wasn't that it was, Arsenal did put in a really good defensive performance to keep that many shots down to no goals right until the
This is the only time they got space in this because the guys were out. Look, they've left him on his own and that's what's happened. The fact is that when you watch that game, and until this, that's the only time Arsenal switched off.
They had
it doesn't make no... It didn't make no...
an XG of 1.56, I think it was, in the second half.
Yeah, but the second half, we had no one playing up front. We didn't have a front man. Our game was to stop them. And the only thing that didn't stop them was the fact that, in the end, when they got stretched and they were tired, they got their goal, which you'd expect them to get. It was ridiculous, the possession stats.
They just defended their box, didn't they? I mean, it's really... I mean, if we watch that again, Jorginho is there, he's warming up. You watch his reaction when Jack Grealish takes that quick corner.
Yeah.
Quick corner, drives him into the box and then rolls it back. But no, it's now... Look at Jorginho. He's doing his pieces that he knows they need that. But he knows he's getting them into the box now. Rather than the 20-yard shots, they're having to use that, put their bodies on the line. And Raya nearly saves this.
Yeah,
he nearly saves this without even looking.
Gabriel, watch the first block. There, that's Gabriel who blocked that.
Look.
His foot is almost there for another
instinctively he tries to...
I think that would have been one of the best ever down to 10 men performances ever. That would have been if they won that.
And that,
everybody we took it, but I just love the grit they showed, and they should take a lot from that.
How do we feel about Erling Haaland bouncing the ball off Gabriel's head?
I don't feel good about that at all, Kels, because I think that this is a rivalry with a striker and a defender that's good.
It's not something you would have done.
And you know something, Kels? It's not even a case of... I'm not going to do it behind his back.
You do it...
And plus with
break his
them
nose if you did it to his face.
Yeah, but the thing is, I wouldn't... Yeah, because I probably wouldn't throw the ball in the back of your head, especially in that kind of moment. It wasn't my kind of housery was jovial. That wasn't jovial. That wasn't jovial at all. He's in his head. And he done that, and his back's turned. It's a cowardly move for me, Kels. Everybody I done my housery to, I could look them in the eye and we could have a drink now. Gabriel won't be happy about that. Gabriel would have looked him in his eye. I just didn't like it.
But was it also not funny?
To everybody else outside Arsenal, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's got a shirt over his head.
Yeah.
He's got a shirt over his head. He's not looking at him.
Yeah.
He's just marked him for the whole game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he's done that. And, you know what I mean, he's dissing our manager as well. What's going on with him?
Do we think it's that bad?
For me, in the current climate,
I tell you what, they should probably ban him till the end of the season. That's it. From an Arsenal perspective, that would be the ideal outcome, wouldn't it? No Haaland till the end of the season.
It was just, in the end, the way the game panned out, it just left a bitter taste. And it's not just because we...
Well, but do you know what? We haven't, and we don't know, we're flying through things today because there's so much to talk about. That we haven't talked about the injury to Rodri as well, and Manchester City fans will feel that he was sort of targeted by Arsenal, and there were, so it's not. This wasn't one-sided.
Targeted. He got an injury.
No one
injury running towards the corner. No
but before that as well.
In what respect?
In the sense that there was a physical presence around Rodri.
It's hard to target him. He's 6'4", built like a...
We've got a physical presence now. Even the start of the game, you look at the start of the game and Kai Havertz ran towards him and just like, get out of the way. And he went down. We weren't trying to kick lumps out of Rodri or anything. Rodri injured himself running towards the corner to try and get the corner kill.
Always the worst injuries come when there's no one near you.
I've never had to work so hard to find balance in the show. I tell you who didn't even bother trying to find balance, Joe Hart.
I know. It's right in my face. I don't do it in people's face. I don't know where that came from with Joe. I don't know where that came from.
Johnny,
but, you know what?
Johnny,
I'm never gonna go against people. you know what I mean, celebrating their team. Of course not.
I'm looking at Steve Barrow and Michael Owen, staying very professional. You look absolutely fed up. And just Joe Hart on his own, having a little celebration to himself.
I think that was every Arsenal fan how I felt there, because we were so close. We nearly got to the mountaintop there. Because you imagine what people would be saying if you go there and beat them with 10 men. You know what I mean? That kind of gives you that boost, what you need to keep chasing them. And so I was just like every Arsenal fan. They're just very disappointed it didn't happen in the end, because it was a gallant effort.
What did he tell you?
Who?
He said, I told you.
Yeah, he didn't tell me anything, actually.
I think he would have said, the goal's coming.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Like everybody, yeah, but who?
Really?
Who's watching that game not saying the goal?